Hi, so welcome to my channel once again. So this is just gonna be a quick video, I think. I just wanna talk a little bit about the books, or at least some of the books that I'm planning to read in 2024, so that at the end of the year I can look back at this video and see which ones of these books that I've actually read and which ones that I haven't. And yeah, I guess it's kind of like a something to for myself so that I can take accountability. Like I've always told myself that I want to read these books. So yeah, we'll see if I can, reach the target. I mean, I'm not sure if I will because there's just so many books in the world, but yeah, we'll see. The first book that I'm planning to read this year, or at least one of them. I mean, I'm not reading it now, it's just, you know what I mean. I'm gonna read this at some point in the year, and that is the first book in Malazan, and it's like Garden of the Moons or Gardens of the Moon. You know the book. So I've read this book actually like 6 or 7 years ago, back when I was way less experienced when it comes to reading fantasy, and I didn't like it. And the thing is, a lot of people said that this is by far the worst Malazan book, and not only that, it's also like I wasn't experienced at all back when I first read it, which in hindsight was not the best idea. I should have maybe waited a bit or something before going into that series, but that already happened. So all I can do now is just try to read it again and see if I actually like it this time, because everyone says, like, everyone who's read it said that it's like the best thing ever or something. So, I have to know whether that's true or not. The next book that I want to read is Anne Leckie's. I think the title is Raven Tower, The Raven Tower or something. It's her only like fantasy book so far. I've read all of her other books, the sci-fi Imperial Ratch series. I've read them all. I've loved most of them, and I'm curious to see how her writing style will change or not change when she writes fantasy. And the premise, from what I've read, sounds really interesting. So I want to see how much I will like it. Next, it's not one particular book, but more like a couple of books. I think the rest are just a couple of books. First, I want to read more from the author Kim Stanley Robinson, who I've only read one book from, and that was Ministry for the Future. The thing is, I love that book, but I've heard that his other books are not like that, so I wasn't really sure if I was gonna like it, if I was gonna like them, so I hesitated and never read his other books. But now I think I want to see what else he's done. I think there's a book called 22312 or something, which is like a futuristic sci-fi. I think I'm gonna read that first before getting the rest. I know like his most famous work is like the Mars trilogy or something, but I'm not really like it doesn't really sound like something I'd be really into. So I'm just gonna give some of them a try, and we'll see if I will like any of them as much as I liked what's it called, Ministry for the Future. So yeah. The next author that I'm gonna try to read more of is Kingfisher. I've read a couple of books from Kingfisher. The Hugo Award-winning Nettle and Bone, which I thought didn't deserve the award, but whatever. And I've read Thornhatch, and I might have read something else. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I really like her writing style, I think, and I want to read more of her horror books. I know she writes a lot of horror, and while I'm not the biggest fan of horror except for like cosmic horror, I still want to see like how she does horror, and if her more fantasy oriented stories are that much different from her horror stories. So yeah, I'm planning to read more of her books. I don't know exactly which ones though, but she has a lot of books, so there's a lot to pick from. Another author that I want to read more of is actually Emily St. John Mandel, which, she wrote, I think, like 4 or 5 books thus far. I'm not really sure. I've read Sea of Tranquility, which I loved, And I know her most famous work is like Station 11. So I'm gonna try to read that, I guess. And I think there's another one that I know the title of. It's like The Glass House or something like that. But yeah, her writing style really appeals to me, like that literary sci-fi I really like. So yeah, we'll see. Is there anyone else? Oh yeah, there's actually a specific book, and that is fuck. I don't remember the title actually. It's like Black Swan Green or something by David Mitchell. It's the only David Mitchell book that I have not read. And it's really thin, and I have a copy of it somewhere in the house. I just gotta look for it. It's the only Mitchell book that I have not read, and it's really short, so why not, you know? And I know it's not like fantasy, like it's not the type of stuff that David Mitchell is more known for, like Cloud Atlas or his other fantasy books. I know it's more like a, what's the word? I don't remember the word. Like Bildungsroman or something. Like it's the term people use to describe YA books before YA became a thing. It's like a coming of age, I guess. I don't know. I've heard the book described as that word, which I can't really remember right now. But yeah, I'm trying to think of if there's any other authors or books that I want to get to this year. Well, actually, yes, there is. And I want to continue Wheel of Time. I don't even remember where I last like stopped reading Wheel of Time. It was, I think, book 5 or 6 or something, and I just stopped because I knew that in the middle of the series there's like a chunk of books that a lot of people have said to be really boring, and I'm not really like excited to read that, I guess. But I wanna try at least because everyone says that the final 2 books that Brandon Sanderson co-wrote were really good, and I'm a huge Sanderson fan, so I think it might be worth it. I don't know. We'll see. If I don't like the next couple of books, I might just entirely stop. But then again, I might just continue, given that I've read so many of the books. But yeah, I want to at least try. And is there anything else? Yeah, actually, I want to read more of Adrian Tchaikovsky. I've read like City of Last Chances, and there's a sequel that came out last month. I don't remember the title, but I want to read that. And I want to read some of his other stuff. I think there's a sci-fi fantasy book he wrote last year, a novella called Elder Race or something like that, which seemed really interesting, and it's a novella, I'm pretty sure, so I'm just gonna try to check that out. And I want to also like check out the sequel to his Children of Time book, because I love that book, but I have not read the sequels. And yeah, I think that's about it. That's already quite enough. And if I ever think to myself that I don't really have anything to read, I can just go back to this video and see that how that's completely wrong. So yeah, we'll see. I hope I can at least read most of these books by the end of the year, but I don't know. We will see. Yeah, that's about it, I think. And as always, if you like the video, feel free to leave a like and maybe subscribe if you want to see more. And thanks for watching.